That's the funny thing, isn't it? We spend so much time chasing after happiness, looking for it in other people and things and achievements. But what if I told you that true happiness, lasting happiness, comes from within? That's right. It's not about finding the right person or the perfect job. It's about finding yourself. Now, I know what you're thinking, but being alone is scary. And you're right. It can be, but it's also incredibly liberating. When you learn to be happy alone, you're no longer dependent on others for your joy. You become the master of your own happiness. Think about it for a moment. How often have you put your happiness in someone else's hands? Maybe it was a romantic partner, a friend, or even a family member. You thought, if only they would do this or that, then I'd be happy. But that's not how happiness works. It's not something that can be given to you by others. It's something you create for yourself. Let's talk about letting go. It's a powerful concept, but it's often misunderstood. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or not caring. It means releasing the need to control everything. It means accepting things as they are rather than how you think they should be. When you let go, you free yourself from the burden of expectations. You stop trying to force things to happen and start allowing life to unfold naturally. It's like swimming in a river. You can fight against the current, exhausting yourself in the process, or you can relax and let the flow carry you, which sounds more appealing. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Learning to be happy alone takes practice. It's a skill, just like any other. But the good news is it's a skill you can master. And when you do, you'll find a sense of peace and contentment that you never knew was possible. So how do we do it? How do we learn to be happy alone? It starts with getting to know yourself, really getting to know yourself, not the version of you that you show to the world, but the real you, the you that exists beneath all the roles you play and the masks you wear. Spend time with yourself. Listen to your thoughts. Pay attention to your feelings. What makes you happy? What brings you peace? What excites you? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. And here's the thing. You might be surprised by the answers. You might discover parts of yourself that you never knew existed, interests you never explored, talents you never developed. When you're always surrounded by others, it's easy to lose touch with who you truly are. But when you're alone, you have the opportunity to rediscover yourself. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a garden. When you're constantly focused on others, you're tending to their gardens. But what about your own? Who's watering your flowers? Who's pulling your weeds? When you learn to be happy alone, you become the gardener of your own mind. Now, I'm not saying you should isolate yourself from others. Humans are social creatures and relationships are important. But there's a big difference between enjoying the company of others and needing others to feel complete. When you learn to be happy alone, you bring more to your relationships. You're no longer looking to others to fill a void in yourself. Instead, you're coming from a place of fullness, ready to share your joy with others. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear of being alone is one of the most common fears people have. But here's the truth. You're never truly alone. You always have yourself. And when you learn to enjoy your own company, you'll never feel lonely again. Think about the last time you were alone. Were you really alone? Or were you just without other people? There's a big difference. Being alone doesn't mean being lonely. In fact, some of the most profound moments of connection can happen when we're by ourselves. Have you ever watched a beautiful sunset by yourself? Or taken a walk in nature alone? There's something magical about these solitary experiences. You're not just observing the world around you, you're connecting with it on a deeper level. You're connecting with yourself. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't like being alone with my thoughts. They're too loud, too negative, and that's okay. That's part of the process. Learning to be happy alone isn't about silencing your thoughts. It's about changing your relationship with them. Imagine your thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They come, they go. Some are dark and stormy. Others are light and fluffy. But you're the sky. You're not the clouds. You're the vast open space that contains them all. When you learn to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, you'll find a sense of peace that's always been there, waiting for you to notice it. This is where practices like meditation can be incredibly helpful. Meditation isn't about emptying your mind. It's about observing your mind. It's about creating a little bit of space between you and your thoughts. And in that space, you'll find freedom. Now let's talk about self-love. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? Self-love isn't about being narcissistic or selfish. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you'd offer to a good friend. Think about it. If a friend came to you feeling down, what would you do? You'd probably listen to them, offer words of encouragement, maybe give them a hug. But how often do you do these things for yourself? How often do you speak to yourself with kindness? How often do you acknowledge your own efforts and accomplishments? Learning to be happy alone means becoming your own best friend. It means cheering yourself on, comforting yourself when you're down, and celebrating your victories, no matter how small they might seem. And here's the beautiful thing: when you learn to love yourself, you become more capable of loving others. Your relationships become richer, more authentic. You're no longer looking to others to fill a void in yourself. Instead, you're coming from a place of fullness, ready to share your love with the world. Now, I want to talk about something that might seem a bit counterintuitive. Sometimes to be happy alone, you need to connect with something bigger than yourself. This could be a cause you believe in, a creative pursuit, or even a spiritual practice. When you connect with something larger than yourself, you tap into a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends your individual existence. Think about the times in your life when you felt most alive. Chances are these were moments when you were fully engaged in something you cared about. Maybe you were helping someone in need, or creating something beautiful, or working towards a goal that really mattered to you. These moments of engagement and flow are key to happiness, whether you're alone or with others. So ask yourself, what lights you up? What makes you lose track of time? What makes you feel connected to something larger than yourself? These are the things you should be pursuing, whether you're in a relationship or not. Now, let's talk about the power of solitude. In our hyper-connected world, true solitude has become rare. We're constantly bombarded with notifications, messages, and demands for our attention. But solitude, real, uninterrupted alone time, is essential for our mental and emotional well-being. Solitude gives us the space to process our experiences, to reflect on our lives, and to connect with our innermost selves. It's in these quiet moments that we often have our most profound insights and creative breakthroughs. So I challenge you to carve out time for solitude in your life. Turn off your phone. Step away from your computer. Find a quiet space where you can just be with yourself. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to it, but stick with it. The more you practice solitude, the more you'll come to value and even crave these moments of quiet reflection. Let's talk about the concept of wholeness. Society often tells us that we need another person to complete us, that we're somehow incomplete on our own, but this is a myth. You are already whole, you are already complete. Another person can complement you, can add to your life, but they can't complete you. Only you can do that. When you realize that you're already whole, it changes everything. You no longer approach relationships from a place of need or desperation. Instead, you come from a place of choice. You choose to be with someone because you want to, not because you need to. And that, my friends, is the foundation for truly healthy, fulfilling relationships. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but I've always been in relationships. I don't know how to be alone. And that's okay. Learning to be happy alone is a process. And it's not something that happens overnight. Start small. Spend an evening by yourself doing something you enjoy. Take yourself out to dinner. Go to a movie alone. These might feel awkward at first, but with practice, you'll start to enjoy these solo experiences. You might even start to prefer them in some cases. Remember, being alone doesn't mean being inactive or isolated. It's an opportunity to pursue your interests, to try new things, to challenge yourself. Always wanted to learn a new language. Now's your chance. It's just in painting, but never had the time. Pick up a brush. The possibilities are endless when you're not constrained by the preferences or schedules of others. Let's talk about the power of self-reliance. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a deep sense of self-reliance. You know that no matter what happens, you can handle it. You don't need someone else to solve your problems or make you feel better. You have all the resources you need within yourself. This self-reliance is incredibly empowering. It gives you the confidence to take risks, to pursue your dreams, to live life on your own terms when you're not dependent on others for your happiness. You're free to make choices based on what's truly best for you, not what will please others or keep them from leaving. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Some people think that learning to be happy alone means becoming cold or detached, but that's not the case at all. In fact, when you're truly comfortable with yourself, you're able to form deeper, more authentic connections with others. Think about it. When you're not desperately seeking approval or validation from others, you're free to be your authentic self. You're not trying to impress anyone or be someone you're not. This authenticity is magnetic. It draws people to you naturally. Let's talk about the importance of boundaries. When you learn to be happy alone, you naturally develop stronger boundaries. You're clear about what you will and won't accept in your life. You're not afraid to say no to things that don't serve you, even if it means disappointing others. These boundaries are crucial for your well being. They protect your energy, your time, and your peace of mind. They ensure that when you do choose to spend time with others, it's because you genuinely want to, not because you feel obligated or afraid of being alone. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but what about loneliness? Isn't it natural to feel lonely sometimes? And you're absolutely right. Loneliness is a normal human emotion. Everyone feels lonely at times, even people in relationships. But here's the thing. Loneliness isn't caused by being alone, it's caused by feeling disconnected. And you can feel disconnected even when you're surrounded by people. The key is to learn to connect with yourself. When you have a strong connection with yourself, you'll never truly feel lonely. So, how do you connect with yourself? It starts with self awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your body, practice mindfulness, be present in each moment. When you're fully present, you'll find that there's so much richness in your own experience that you don't need constant external stimulation. Let's talk about the power of choice. When you learn to be happy alone, you're no longer making choices out of fear or desperation. You're choosing from a place of strength and self awareness. You're not staying in unfulfilling relationships because you're afraid of being alone. You're not saying yes to things you don't want to do because you're afraid of disappointing others. Instead, you're making choices that align with your values, your goals, your true self. And this, my friends, is the path to a truly fulfilling life. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about love? Don't we all need love? And you're absolutely right. Love is a fundamental human need. But here's the thing. The most important love you'll ever receive is the love you give yourself. When you love yourself, truly and deeply, you become a beacon of love. You naturally attract loving relationships into your life. But you're not dependent on these relationships for your happiness or your sense of self-worth. You know that you are worthy of love with or without a romantic partner. Let's talk about the power of self-discovery. When you're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to lose touch with who you truly are. Your preferences, your desires, your dreams can all get buried under the expectations and opinions of others. But when you spend time alone, you have the opportunity to rediscover yourself. You might be surprised by what you find. Maybe you'll discover a passion for painting that you never knew you had. Maybe you'll realize that you actually prefer quiet nights at home to wild parties. Maybe you'll uncover a strength or resilience within yourself that you never knew existed. This process of self-discovery is ongoing. We're constantly growing, changing, evolving, and that's a beautiful thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you give yourself the space to continually explore and expand who you are. Now, let's talk about the concept of inner peace. Many people seek peace in external things, in relationships, in achievements, in material possessions. But true peace comes from within. It comes from accepting yourself fully, from being comfortable in your own skin, from knowing that no matter what happens in the external world, you have an unshakable core of calm within you. When you learn to be happy alone, you tap into this inner peace. You're no longer buffeted about by the ups and downs of life. You have an anchor, a steady center that keeps you grounded no matter what storms may come. Let's talk about the power of self-trust. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a deep sense of trust in yourself. You trust your judgments, your decisions, your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. This self-trust is incredibly empowering. It gives you the courage to take risks, to pursue your dreams, to live life on your own terms. Think about it. How many times have you second-guessed yourself? How many times have you held back from doing something because you were afraid of what others might think? When you trust yourself, these fears lose their power over you. You know that whatever happens, you can handle it. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but isn't it selfish to focus so much on myself? And that's a valid question. But here's the thing. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you take care of yourself, when you're happy and fulfilled, you have so much more to give to others. Think of it like this. When you're on an airplane, they always tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. The same principle applies in life. When you're happy and fulfilled, you're in a much better position to help and support others. Let's talk about the power of presence. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop the ability to be fully present in each moment. You're not constantly seeking distraction or validation from others. You're able to immerse yourself fully in whatever you're doing, whether it's reading a book, taking a walk, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. This presence is a gift. It allows you to experience life in all its richness and complexity. You notice things you might have missed before: the play of light on leaves, the subtle flavors in your food, the intricate patterns in nature. Life becomes more vivid, more vibrant. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but what about my goals and ambitions? Don't I need others to achieve them? And while it's true that we often need to collaborate with others to achieve our goals, the drive and motivation to pursue those goals comes from within you. When you're comfortable being alone, you're more in touch with your true desires and aspirations. You're not pursuing goals just because others expect you to or because you're trying to impress someone. You're pursuing what truly matters to you. And that authenticity gives you a level of passion and perseverance that's unstoppable. Let's talk about the power of creativity. When you learn to be happy alone, you open up space for creativity to flourish. Without the constant input and opinions of others, you're free to explore your own ideas, to experiment, to take risks creatively. Think about some of the great artists, writers, and innovators throughout history. Many of them produced their best work during periods of solitude. That's because creativity often requires a certain amount of mental space. Space to daydream, to make unexpected connections, to see things from new perspectives. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about shared experiences? Aren't they important? And you're absolutely right. Shared experiences can be wonderful and enriching. But here's the thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you bring more to those shared experiences. You're not participating out of a desperate need for connection or validation. You're fully present, fully engaged, bringing your whole self to the experience. And that makes those shared moments even more meaningful and enjoyable. Let's talk about the power of self-reflection. When you're comfortable being alone, you have the opportunity to really look at yourself, your thoughts, your behaviors, your patterns. This self-reflection is crucial for personal growth and self-improvement. Think about it. How often do you take the time to really examine your life, to ask yourself tough questions, to challenge your assumptions? When you're always surrounded by others, it's easy to get caught up in the flow of daily life without ever really stopping to reflect. But when you're alone, you have the space to do this important inner work. Now, I'm not saying this self-reflection is always easy or comfortable. Sometimes it can be downright challenging. You might confront aspects of yourself that you don't like. You might realize you've been making choices that don't align with your values. But this awareness is the first step towards change and growth. Let's talk about the concept of personal responsibility. When you learn to be happy alone, you naturally take more responsibility for your life. You stop blaming others for your circumstances or your feelings. You recognize that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control your response. This sense of personal responsibility is incredibly empowering. It puts you in the driver's seat of your life. You're no longer a victim of circumstances, but an active creator of your reality. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but what about companionship? Don't we need that as humans? And you're absolutely right. Humans are social creatures and companionship is important. But here's the thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you can choose companionship from a place of want rather than need. Think about the difference between these two scenarios. In one, you're desperate for companionship because you can't stand being alone. You'll accept any company, even if it's not good for you, just to avoid being by yourself. In the other scenario, you're content on your own, but you choose to spend time with others because you genuinely enjoy their company and want to share experiences with them. Which scenario do you think leads to healthier, more fulfilling relationships? Let's talk about power silence. In our noisy, busy world, silence has become a rare commodity. We're constantly bombarded with sounds, information, and stimulation, but silence, real deep silence, is incredibly powerful. When you learn to be comfortable alone, you also learn to be comfortable with silence. You don't need constant noise or distraction. You can sit in silence and find it refreshing, rejuvenating, even revelatory. In the silence, you can hear your own thoughts more clearly. You can tap into your intuition. You can find a sense of peace that's often elusive in the hustle and bustle of daily life. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about my social life? Won't I become isolated if I learn to be happy alone? And that's a valid concern. But here's the thing, learning to be happy alone doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means having a strong enough sense of self that you can engage with others authentically without losing yourself in the process. In fact, when you're comfortable being alone, you often become more social, not less. Why? Because you're no longer approaching social situations from a place of need or anxiety. You're not desperately seeking approval or validation. You're simply enjoying the company of others for its own sake. And that relaxed, confident energy is incredibly attractive to others. Let's talk about the power of self sufficiency. When you learn to be happy alone, you become more self sufficient in all areas of your life. You learn to meet your own needs emotionally, intellectually, and even practically. This self sufficiency doesn't mean you never ask for help or support. It means you have the confidence to know that even if help isn't available, you can figure things out on your own. You become resourceful, adaptable, resilient. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling, you might be thinking, but what about intimacy? Don't we need close relationships to be truly happy? And you're right, intimate relationships can be a wonderful part of life. But here's the thing. The most important intimate relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you're comfortable being alone, develop a deep intimacy with yourself. You know your own thoughts, feelings, desires, fears. You're not afraid to look at the darker parts of yourself, the parts you might usually try to hide from others. This self-intimacy forms the foundation for all other intimate relationships in your life. Let's talk about the power of self-expression. When you learn to be happy alone, you become more comfortable expressing your true self to the world. You're not constantly adjusting your behavior or opinions to fit in with others. You're not afraid to stand out or be different. This authentic self-expression is liberating. It allows you to live life on your own terms, to pursue your passions without fear of judgment. And ironically, this authenticity often draws people to you. People are naturally attracted to those who are genuine and comfortable in their own skin. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about love? Isn't romantic love necessary for happiness? And while romantic love can certainly add joy and richness to life, it's not the only source of love or happiness. When you learn to be happy alone, you open yourself up to many different forms of love. The love of friends, the love of family, the love of community, and most importantly, self-love. You realize that love isn't something you need to seek outside yourself. It's something you can cultivate within yourself and then share with the world. Let's talk about the power of personal growth. When you're comfortable being alone, you have more time and energy to invest in your own personal development. You can pursue your interests, develop new skills, expand your knowledge without being constrained by the preferences or schedules of others. This ongoing personal growth keeps life exciting and fulfilling. You're constantly evolving, constantly becoming a better version of yourself. And this growth isn't for anyone else, it's for you. You're not trying to impress others or live up to their expectations. You're growing because you want to, because it feels good, because it's part of your journey of self-discovery. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but isn't it natural to want to share your life with someone? And you're absolutely right. Sharing your life can be beautiful. But here's the thing. When you learn to be happy alone, you're in a much better position to share your life in a healthy way. Think about it. If you're dependent on others for your happiness, you're more likely to cling to relationships, even unhealthy ones. You're more likely to compromise your values or ignore red flags because you're afraid of being alone. But when you're happy on your own, you can choose to share your life from a place of wholeness rather than need. Let's talk about the power of self-acceptance. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a deep sense of self-acceptance. You stop trying to change yourself to fit some external ideal. You embrace all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, and everything in between. This self-acceptance is incredibly freeing. It doesn't mean you stop trying to grow or improve. It means you approach that growth from a place of love and acceptance rather than self-criticism or self-rejection. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about the fear of missing out? Won't I miss out on experiences if I'm comfortable being alone? And that's a valid concern. But here's the thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you're actually more likely to say yes to new experiences. Why? Because you're not held back by the fear of doing things on your own. You're not waiting for someone else to join you before you try that new restaurant, take that trip, or pursue that hobby. You're free to follow your curiosity and interests wherever they lead you. Let's talk about the power of inner strength. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a deep well of inner strength. You know that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it. You're not dependent on others to get you through tough times. This inner strength is like a superpower. It gives you the courage to take risks, to face your fears, to pursue your dreams. It helps you bounce back from setbacks and disappointments. It allows you to stand firm in your convictions even when others disagree. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but isn't it selfish to focus so much on my own happiness? And that's a thoughtful question, but here's the thing. Your happiness isn't just about you. When you're truly happy and fulfilled, you have so much more to give to others and to the world. Think about it. When you're happy, you're more patient, more kind, more generous. You have more energy to help others, to contribute to your community, to make a positive difference in the world. Your happiness ripples out, affecting everyone around you in positive ways. Let's talk about the power of self-trust. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a deep sense of trust in yourself. You trust your judgment, your decisions, your ability to navigate life's challenges. This self-trust is incredibly empowering. Think about how many decisions we make based on fear or the opinions of others. How often do we hold ourselves back because we don't trust our own instincts? When you develop self-trust, you free yourself from these limitations. You become more confident, more decisive, more authentic in your choices. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about the need for connection? Isn't that a fundamental human need? And you're absolutely right. Connection is crucial for our well-being. But here's the thing. The most important connection you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you're connected to yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your values, your dreams, you bring that sense of connection to all your relationships. You're not looking to others to complete you or fill a void. You're coming from a place of wholeness, ready to share and connect authentically. Let's talk about the power of presence. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop the ability to be fully present in each moment. You're not constantly seeking distraction or validation from others. You're able to immerse yourself fully in whatever you're doing, whether it's reading a book, taking a walk, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. This presence is a gift. It allows you to experience life in all its richness and complexity. You notice things you might have missed before, the play of light on leaves, the subtle flavors in your food, the intricate patterns in nature. Life becomes more vivid, more vibrant. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but isn't it easier to motivate yourself when you have someone else holding you accountable? And while external accountability can be helpful, true motivation comes from within. When you're comfortable being alone, you learn to be your own motivator. You don't need someone else to push you or hold you accountable. You develop the self-discipline and inner drive to pursue your goals and dreams, even when no one else is watching. Let's talk about the power of self-discovery. When you're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to lose touch with who you truly are. Your preferences, your desires, your dreams can all get buried under the expectations and opinions of others. But when you spend time alone, you have the opportunity to rediscover yourself. You might be surprised by what you find. Maybe you'll discover a passion for painting that you never knew you had. Maybe you'll realize that you actually prefer quiet nights at home to wild parties. Maybe you'll uncover a strength or resilience within yourself that you never knew existed. This process of self-discovery is ongoing. We're constantly growing, changing, evolving, and that's a beautiful thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you give yourself the space to continually explore and expand who you are. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about shared experiences? Aren't they important? And you're absolutely right. Shared experiences can be wonderful and enriching. But here's the thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you bring more to those shared experiences. You're not participating out of a desperate need for connection or validation. You're fully present, fully engaged, bringing your whole self to the experience, and that makes those shared moments even more meaningful and enjoyable. Let's talk about the power of inner peace. Many people seek peace in external things, in relationships, in achievements, in material possessions. But true peace comes from within. It comes from accepting yourself fully, from being comfortable in your own skin, from knowing that no matter what happens in the external world, you have an unshakable core of calm within you. When you learn to be happy alone, you tap into this inner peace. You're no longer buffeted about by the ups and downs of life. You have an anchor, a steady center that keeps you grounded no matter what storms may come. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but what about the future? Won't I end up alone if I get too comfortable being by myself? And that's a common fear. But here's the truth. Learning to be happy alone doesn't mean you'll always be alone. It means you'll be able to choose your relationships wisely from a place of want rather than need. Think about it. When you're comfortable on your own, you're not going to settle for relationships that don't serve you. You're not going to stay in situations that compromise your values or your well-being. You're free to choose connections that truly enhance your life, that bring you joy and growth. Let's talk about the power of self-reliance. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a deep sense of self reliance. You know that no matter what happens, you can handle it. You don't need someone else to solve your problems or make you feel better. You have all the resources you need within yourself. This self reliance is incredibly empowering. It gives you the confidence to take risks, to pursue your dreams, to live life on your own terms. When you're not dependent on others for your happiness, you're free to make choices based on what's truly best for you, not what will please others or keep them from leaving. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but isn't it selfish to focus so much on myself? And that's a valid question. But here's the thing. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you take care of yourself, when you're happy and fulfilled, you have so much more to give to others. Think of it like this. When you're on an airplane, they always tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. The same principle applies in life. When you're happy and fulfilled, you're in a much better position to help and support others. Let's talk about the power of authenticity. When you learn to be happy alone, you become more authentic in all areas of your life. You're not constantly adjusting your behavior or opinions to fit in with others. You're not afraid to stand out or be different. This authenticity is liberating. It allows you to live life on your own terms, to pursue your passions without fear of judgment. And ironically, this authenticity often draws people to you. People are naturally attracted to those who are genuine and comfortable in their own skin. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling. You might be thinking, but what about compromise? Isn't that important in relationships? And you're absolutely right. Compromise is crucial in any relationship. But here's the thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you're able to compromise from a place of strength rather than fear. You're not compromising because you're afraid of being alone. You're not giving up your values or your dreams just to keep someone else happy. You're able to find genuine middle ground to create win-win situations in your relationships. Let's talk about the power of self-expression. When you learn to be happy alone, you become more comfortable expressing your true self to the world. You're not constantly seeking approval or validation from others. You're able to speak your truth, to share your ideas, to be who you really are without fear. This self-expression is a gift, both to yourself and to the world. It allows you to make your unique contribution, to share your gifts and talents without holding back, and in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. Now, I want to address something that might be on your minds. You might be thinking, but what about the need for touch and physical affection? Isn't that important? And you're absolutely right. Physical touch is a fundamental human need. But here's the thing. When you're comfortable being alone, you're able to meet many of your physical needs in healthy ways. You can practice self-care through things like massage, yoga, or simply taking the time to really tune into your body's needs. You can seek out platonic forms of touch, like hugs from friends or family. And when you do engage in romantic relationships, you're able to do so from a place of desire rather than desperation. Let's talk about the power of creativity. When you learn to be happy alone, you open up space for creativity to flourish. Without the constant input and opinions of others, you're free to explore your own ideas, to experiment, to take risks creatively. Think about some of the great artists, writers, and innovators throughout history. Many of them produce their best work during periods of solitude. That's because creativity often requires a certain amount of mental space. Space to daydream, to make unexpected connections, to see things from new perspectives. Now, as we wrap up this journey of self-discovery and inner growth, I want you to remember one crucial thing. Learning to be happy alone is not about isolating yourself or rejecting relationships. It's about building a strong foundation of self-love, self-trust, and self-reliance that allows you to engage with the world from a place of wholeness and authenticity. It's about finding that unshakable core of peace and contentment within yourself so that no matter what life throws your way, you know you'll be okay. When you master the art of being happy alone, you become free. Free to choose your relationships wisely, free to pursue your passions without fear, free to live life on your own terms. You become the author of your own happiness, the creator of your own destiny. And in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you inspire and uplift everyone around you. So embrace your solitude, cherish your alone time, and watch as it becomes the fertile ground from which your best self grows. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today. Choose happiness. Choose yourself. The world is waiting for the unique gift that only you can bring. Now go out there and shine your light, knowing that you are whole, you are complete, and you are enough, just as you. You're here tonight because you're ready for change. You're here because something inside you knows there's more to life than what you've been experiencing. And you're right, there is so much more waiting for you just beyond the edge of your comfort zone. Think about this. Every single person who's ever achieved greatness, who's ever transformed their life, who's ever made a lasting impact on the world, they all started exactly where you are right now. They all had that moment, that one night when they decided enough was enough, when they chose to turn things around. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How one night, one decision, one moment of clarity can change everything. Now, I'm not talking about some magical, mystical transformation that happens in the blink of an eye. I'm talking about the power of making a real committed decision. The kind of decision that aligns your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions all at once. You see, most people go through life on autopilot. They wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to sleep, and then do it all over again the next day. They're living in a loop, repeating the same patterns day after day, year after year, and they wonder why nothing ever changes. But you're different. You're here, and that means you're ready to break that loop. You're ready to create something new. You're ready to turn things around. Now, have you ever had a moment where you suddenly saw everything clearly, where all the pieces of the puzzle just fell into place? That's the kind of moment we're going to create tonight. Because when you have that kind of clarity, when you see the big picture and understand how all the parts of your life fit together, that's when real change becomes possible. Think about it. Every great invention, every revolutionary idea, every life-changing decision, they all started with a moment of clarity. A moment when someone saw beyond the limitations of their current reality and glimpsed the possibilities of what could be. And here's the exciting part. You don't need years of study or special skills to have this kind of breakthrough. You just need to be open, to be willing to see things differently, and to be ready to act on what you discover. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but Joe, I've tried to change before. I've made New Year's resolutions. I've started diets and exercise programs. I've tried to quit bad habits, and nothing ever sticks. I hear you, and I want you to know that it's not your fault. The reason those attempts didn't work is that you were trying to change your life from the outside in. You were focusing on changing your behaviors without first changing your thoughts and your emotions. But tonight, we're going to do things differently. We're going to start from the inside out. We're going to rewire your brain and reprogram your body to create lasting change. And it all starts with understanding how your mind really works. You see, your brain is like a supercomputer. It's constantly processing information, making decisions, and creating your reality. But here's the thing, most people never learn how to use this supercomputer effectively. They let their old programs, their old habits and beliefs run the show. But you're not going to do that anymore. Tonight, you're going to learn how to take control of your mind, how to direct your thoughts and emotions in a way that creates the life you want. Now, I want you to think about something you've always wanted to achieve. Maybe it's starting a business or writing a book or running a marathon. Whatever it is, I want you to hold that thought in your mind right now. Got it? Good. Now, here's where things get interesting. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in your outer world and what's happening in your inner world. When you vividly imagine achieving your goal, your brain starts to create new neural pathways as if it's already happened. This is the power of mental rehearsal. It's a technique used by top athletes, successful entrepreneurs, and high achievers in every field. And tonight, you're going to learn how to use it to transform your life. But mental rehearsal is just the beginning. We're also going to talk about the power of elevated emotions. You see, most people let their environment control their emotions. They feel good when good things happen, and they feel bad when bad things happen. They're at the mercy of their circumstances. But what if I told you that you could choose your emotional state, regardless of what's happening around you? What if you could tap into feelings of joy, gratitude, and excitement even when faced with challenges? This isn't just positive thinking or wishful dreaming. This is about understanding the biochemistry of emotion and learning how to produce the internal states that lead to success, health, and happiness. When you combine vivid mental imagery with elevated emotions, you create a powerful cocktail for change. You're literally rewriting the software of your brain and changing the chemistry of your body. And when you do this consistently, day after day, you start to see amazing changes in your life. Now, I know this might sound too good to be true. You might be thinking, Joe, are you telling me I can change my life just by thinking and feeling differently? And my answer is yes, absolutely. But here's the catch. It's not enough to do this once or twice. It's not enough to get excited at a seminar and then go back to your old ways. Real change requires consistency. It requires dedication. It requires you to show up for yourself day after day, even when you don't feel like it. especially when you don't feel like it. And that's where most people fail. They start strong, but they give up when things get tough. They let their old habits and beliefs pull them back into their comfort zone. But not you, not after tonight. Because tonight, you're going to learn how to push through those challenges. You're going to learn how to stay committed to your vision, even when the going gets tough. It gets easier. The more you practice these techniques, the more natural they become, the more you direct your thoughts and emotions, the more automatic it becomes, until one day you wake up and realize that you're living the life you once only dreamed about. Now let's talk about the science behind all this. Your body is a living, breathing pharmacy. It's constantly producing chemicals based on your thoughts and emotions. When you're stressed, your body produces cortisol and adrenaline. When you're happy, it produces serotonin and dopamine. And here's the amazing thing. You can learn to produce these chemicals at will. You can learn to create states of bliss, focus, and creativity simply by directing your thoughts. This isn't New Age mumbo jumbo. This is cutting edge neuroscience. We now have the technology to see exactly what's happening in the brain when people meditate, when they visualize, when they experience elevated emotions. And what we've found is nothing short of revolutionary. We've discovered that the brain is much more plastic, much more changeable than we ever thought possible. You're not stuck with the brain you were born with. You can literally rewire your neural pathways through consistent mental and emotional practice. Think about the implications of this. It means that no matter what your past has been, no matter what habits or beliefs you've developed over the years, you have the power to change. You have the power to create new patterns, new behaviors, new realities. But there's the thing. This power has always been there. It's not something I'm giving you tonight. It's something you've always had. The only difference is that now you're becoming aware of it. Now you're learning how to use it. And that's what makes tonight so special. This is your turning point. This is the night when you decide to take control of your mind, your emotions, your life. Now, I want you to think about something that's been holding you back. Maybe it's a fear or a limiting belief or a bad habit. Got it. Okay. Now I want you to realize that thing only has power over you because you've given it power. You've reinforced it through your thoughts and emotions, through your focus and attention. But what if you could redirect that focus? What if you could channel all that energy into something positive, something that moves you forward instead of holding you back? That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to take all those old patterns, all those old beliefs, and we're going to transform them. We're going to redirect that energy into creating the life you want. And here's the beautiful part. As you change your internal world, your external world will start to change too. You'll start to attract different opportunities, different people, different experiences, because you're literally broadcasting a different frequency to the universe. Now, I know some of you might be skeptical. You might be thinking, Joe, this sounds like magic. This sounds too easy. And I get it. I was skeptical too when I first learned about this stuff. But then I saw it work in my own life. I saw it work in the lives of thousands of people I've worked with over the years. Here's what I've learned. The principles are simple, but the application takes practice. It's like learning to play an instrument or mastering a sport. The basics are easy to understand, but to become truly great, you need to practice consistently. So tonight I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to show you the techniques, but it's up to you to use them. It's up to you to practice, to stay committed, to keep showing up for yourself day after day. And I promise you, if you do that, if you really commit to this process, your life will change in ways you can't even imagine right now. Now, let's talk about the power of the present moment. Most people spend their lives either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. They're rarely fully present in the now. And that's a problem because the present moment is where all your power lies. Think about it. You can't change the past and you can't control the future. The only thing you have any real control over is this moment right here, right now. And when you learn to fully inhabit the present moment, when you learn to bring all your awareness, all your focus to the now, that's when magic happens. That's when you can tap into your intuition. That's when you can access your creativity. That's when you can make decisions from a place of clarity and wisdom instead of fear and habit. And you're fully present, time seems to slow down. You become more aware of the little things, the subtle nuances of life that most people miss. You start to appreciate the beauty in everyday moments. You start to feel more alive, more connected, more in tune with yourself and the world around you. But being present isn't just about feeling good. It's also incredibly practical. When you're present, you're more effective in everything you do. You make fewer mistakes. You communicate more clearly. You're more creative and innovative. You're better at solving problems and making decisions. So how do you become more present? It starts with awareness. Start paying attention to where your mind goes. throughout the day. Notice when you're dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. And when you catch yourself doing that, gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Focus on your breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Notice the sensations in your body. Listen to the sounds around you. Really look at the things in your environment as if you're seeing them for the first time. This might feel strange at first. Your mind might resist. It might want to go back to its old patterns of thinking about the past or future. That's okay. It's normal. Just keep bringing your attention back to the present moment again and again. And as you do this, something amazing starts to happen. You start to notice things you've never noticed before. You start to see opportunities you've been missing. You start to feel more alive, more awake, more connected to yourself and the world around you. Now, let's talk about the power of your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind, the part of you that's listening to me right now, is incredibly powerful, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface, your subconscious mind is working 20 for half, as saying, millions of bits of information every second. Your subconscious mind is like a giant storehouse of memories, beliefs, and habits. It's the part of you that knows how to breathe, how to digest food, how to keep your heart beating, but it's also the part of you that holds onto your deepest beliefs about yourself and the world. And here's the conscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It responds to the images and emotions you feed it, whether they come from your actual experiences or from your imagination. This is why visualization is so powerful. When you vividly imagine yourself succeeding, your subconscious mind starts to believe it's real. It starts to create new neural pathways, new patterns of thought and behavior to support that new reality. But here's the conscious mind is also where your limiting beliefs and negative patterns are stored. And these can sabotage your efforts to change, even when you're consciously trying to do things differently. That's why it's not enough to just set goals and try to force yourself to change through willpower alone. You need to work with your subconscious mind to reprogram it at a deep level. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to learn techniques to communicate directly with your subconscious mind, to reprogram those old patterns and create new, empowering beliefs. Communication is one of the most powerful ways to do this is through meditation. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, meditation, that's not for me. I can't sit still. I can't clear my mind. But here's the thing, meditation isn't about clearing your mind. It's about becoming aware of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a river constantly flowing with thoughts. Meditation isn't about stopping the river. It's about learning to sit on the bank and watch the river flow by without jumping in. And as you practice this, something amazing happens. You start to realize that you're not your thoughts, you're the awareness behind your thoughts. And this realization is incredibly liberating. It means you're not at the mercy of your thoughts and emotions. You can choose which thoughts to engage with and which ones to let go. But meditation isn't just about sitting quietly with your eyes closed. There are active forms of meditation too. One of my favorites is walking meditation. This is where you go for a walk and really focus on the sensations in your body as you move. Feel your feet touching the ground. Notice the movement of your legs, your arms, your breath. This kind of meditation not only helps you become more present and aware, but it also gets you out of your head and into your body. And that's crucial because true transformation isn't just a mental process. It's a whole body experience. Now, let's talk about the power of questions. The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Most people ask themselves disempowering questions like, why does this always happen to me? Or what if I fail? These kinds of questions lead to negative emotions and limiting beliefs. But what if you start asking different questions? What if you asked yourself, what can I learn from this situation? Or how can I use this challenge to grow stronger? Or what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? These kinds of questions open up new possibilities. They shift your focus from problems to solutions. They move you from a state of victimhood to a state of empowerment. So I want you to start paying attention to the questions you ask yourself. And whenever you catch yourself asking a disempowering question, stop and rephrase it in a way that opens up possibilities instead of shutting them down. Now, let's talk about the power of your environment. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And there's a lot of truth to that. Your environment, the people you surround yourself with, the information you consume, the physical spaces you inhabit has a huge impact on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Think about it. If you're constantly around negative people who complain all the time, it's going to be much harder for you to maintain a positive outlook. If your social media feed is full of fear-mongering news stories, it's going to be harder for you to feel optimistic about the future. But here's the good news. You have control of your environment. You can choose who you spend time with. You can choose what information you consume. You can choose to create spaces that support your growth and well being. So I want you to take a good look at your environment. Are the people in your life supporting your growth, or are they holding you back? Is the information you're consuming empowering you, or is it dragging you down? Is your physical space conducive to the kind of life you want to create? And if you find areas that aren't serving you, make a commitment to change them. It might not be easy. You might have to have some difficult conversations. You might have to make some tough decisions. But remember, your life is too important to be left to chance. You deserve an environment that supports your highest good. Now, let's talk about the power of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions you can cultivate. When you're truly grateful, it's impossible to feel fear or anger at the same time. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking in your life to what's abundant. It moves you from a state of scarcity to a state of plenty. But here's the thing. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good exercise. It actually changes your brain. When you practice gratitude regularly, you strengthen the neural pathways that make you more likely to notice and appreciate the good things in your life. You literally rewire your brain to look for the positive. And the amazing thing is, as you become more grateful, more good things start showing up in your life. It's like you're tuning into a different frequency, one that attracts more positivity, more opportunities, more reasons to be grateful. So how do you cultivate gratitude? It's simple, but it requires consistency. Start each day by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for the comfortable bed you slept in, or the hot coffee you're about to drink, or the fact that you have another day to pursue your dreams. As you go through your day, look for things to appreciate. The smile from a stranger, the way the sunlight filters through the leaves, the taste of your food, and at the end of the day, reflect on 3 good things that happen no matter how small. Do this consistently, and you'll start to notice a shift. You'll start to feel more positive, more optimistic, more alive, and that feeling will spill over into every area of your life. Now, let's talk about the power of your words. The language you use, both in your internal dialogue and in your conversations with others, has a profound impact on your reality. Words are not just descriptors of reality, they're creators of reality. Think about it. When you say, I can't, you're not just describing your current state. You're reinforcing a belief that limits your potential. You're telling your subconscious mind to find evidence to support that belief. But what if you changed your language? What if instead of saying, I can't, you said, how can I? Instead of saying this is impossible, what if you said this is challenging, but I'm up for it? This isn't about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about framing things in a way that empowers you rather than limits you. It's about using language that opens up possibilities instead of shutting them down. So I want you to start paying attention to your language. Notice the words you use, both in your thoughts and in your speech. And whenever you catch yourself using limiting language, pause and rephrase it in a more empowering way. Now, let's talk about the power of your body. Most people think of the mind and body as separate entities, but they're intimately connected. Your thoughts and emotions affect your body, and your body affects your thoughts and emotions. Think about how your body feels when you're stressed versus when you're relaxed. Think about how your posture changes when you're feeling confident versus when you're feeling insecure. Your body is constantly sending signals to your brain, influencing your mental and emotional state. And here's the amazing thing. You can use this mind-body connection to your advantage. By changing your physiology, you can change your psychology. By changing how you use your body, you can change your emotional state. Try this right now. Sit up straight, pull your shoulders back, lift your chin, and put a smile on your face. Hold this posture for just a minute. Notice how it makes you feel. Notice how it changes your emotional state. This isn't just about posture. It's about using your whole body to create the states you want to experience. It's about moving in ways that energize you, breathing in ways that calm you, using facial expressions that uplift you. And it's not just about feeling good in the moment. When you consistently put your body in empowering states, you start to rewire your nervous system. You create new patterns that make it easier to access those states in the future. So I want you to start thinking of your body as a tool for transformation. Use it consciously. Move in ways that energize you. Breathe in ways that center you. Hold yourself in ways that empower you. Now, let's talk about the power of your habits. Your life is essentially the sum of your habits. The small things you do consistently have a much bigger impact on your life than the big things you do occasionally. Think about it. It's not the occasional workout that gets you in shape. It's the consistent habit of exercise. It's not the occasional burst of productivity that makes you successful. It's the consistent habit of focused work. The good news is you have the power to change your habits. And when you change your habits, you change your life. But here's the thing: willpower alone isn't enough. You need to understand how habits work, how they're formed, and how they can be changed. It cuts three components: a QA routine and a reward. The cue is what triggers the habit. The routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is the benefit you get from the behavior. To change a habit, you need to keep the same cue and the same reward, but change the routine. For example, if you have a habit of snacking when you're stressed, the cue, and it makes you feel better, the reward, you could replace the snacking routine with deep breathing or a short walk. But changing habits isn't just about breaking bad ones. It's also about creating new, empowering habits. And the key to creating new habits is to make them as easy as possible to start. Don't try to change everything at once. Start small. Make it so easy. You can't say no. You want to start a meditation practice? Start with just 1 minute a day. Want to start exercising? Start with just 5 minutes a day. As these small habits become automatic, you can gradually increase the duration or intensity. Remember, consistency is key. It's better to meditate for 1 minute every day than for an hour once a week. It's the repetition, the consistency that rewires your brain and creates lasting change. Now, let's talk about the power of your focus. Where you place your attention determines your reality. If you focus on problems, you'll see problems everywhere. If you focus on opportunities, you'll see opportunities everywhere. This isn't about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing where to direct your mental energy. It's about asking yourself, is this thought serving me? Is this focus moving me closer to where I want to be? And here's the thing: your focus isn't just about what you think about. It's also about what you expose yourself to. The books you read, the shows you watch, the conversations you have, all of these influence your focus and, by extension, your reality. So I want you to start being more intentional about where you place your attention. Choose to focus on things that inspire you, that excite you, that move you forward. And when you notice your attention drifting to things that don't serve you, gently bring it back to what matters. Now, let's talk about the power of your purpose. Having a clear sense of purpose is like having a North Star to guide you. It gives meaning to your actions. It helps you make decisions. It gives you strength to push through challenges. But here's the thing: your purpose isn't something you find. It's something you create. It's not about discovering some pre-existing mission for your life. It's about deciding what's important to you, what you want to contribute to the world. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It can be as simple as being the best parent you can be, or bringing more beauty into the world through your art, or helping others in your community. Itself, what matters is that it resonates with you, that it feels authentic and meaningful to you. And here's the beautiful part: when you live with purpose, everything else falls into place. You have more energy, more resilience, more joy. You're more focused, more motivated, more alive. So I want you to take some time to reflect on your purpose. What matters most to you? What do you want to contribute to the world? How do you want to be remembered? Use these questions as a starting point to define your purpose. Now, let's talk about the power of your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your reality. They influence how you interpret events, how you make decisions, how you behave. In many ways, your beliefs create your experience of life. But here's the thing: many of your beliefs were formed unconsciously. They're the result of your upbringing, your culture, your past experiences. And some of these beliefs might be limiting you, holding you back from reaching your full potential. The good news is you have the power to change your beliefs. You can question them, challenge them, and replace them with more empowering ones. But it takes awareness and consistent effort. Start becoming aware of your beliefs, especially the limiting ones. Pay attention to your self-talk. Notice the assumptions you make about yourself and the world. And when you identify a limiting belief, ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have for this belief? What evidence do I have against it? How is this belief serving me? Then consciously choose more empowering beliefs. For example, if you have a belief that I'm not good enough, you could replace it with I am constantly growing and improving. If you believe success is hard, you could reframe it as success is a journey of growth and learning. Remember, changing beliefs takes time and repetition. You need to reinforce the new belief consistently through your thoughts, your words, and your actions. But as you do this, you'll start to see changes in your life. You'll start to create a new reality that aligns with your new empowering beliefs. When you engage your imagination in this way, you're doing more than just thinking about your goals. You're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain. You're priming your mind and body for success. Think about it. When you vividly imagine achieving your goal, your brain doesn't know the difference between that imagination and reality. It starts to create the same neural patterns it would if you were actually experiencing that success. This is why visualization is so powerful. When you consistently visualize your goals with all your senses, seeing, hearing, feeling what it's like to achieve them, you're literally rewiring your brain for success. But effective visualization isn't just about seeing yourself achieving your goals. It's about feeling the emotions associated with that achievement. It's about experiencing the sense of pride, joy, and fulfillment as if it's happening right now. So I want you to start practicing visualization regularly. Take time each day to vividly imagine yourself living your ideal life, achieving your goals, being the person you want to be. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions. Make it as real as possible in your mind. Don't just visualize the end result. Visualize yourself going through the process of achieving your goals. See yourself overcoming obstacles, learning new skills, growing stronger. This not only prepares you for the journey ahead, but it also builds your confidence and resilience. Now, let's talk about the power of your energy. Everything in the universe is energy, including you, and the energy you put out into the world has a profound impact on your experiences and your results. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the energy shift? Maybe you felt uplifted by someone's positive energy or drained by someone's negative energy. That's because energy is contagious. It affects not just you, but everyone and everything around you. And here's the amazing thing. You have the power to choose your energy. You can decide what kind of energy you want to embody and project into the world. You can choose to be a source of positive, uplifting energy that attracts good things into your life. But how do you do this? It starts with awareness. Start paying attention to your energy throughout the day. Notice how it changes in different situations with different people. Notice how it affects your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior. Then start consciously choosing your energy. If you notice your energy is low or negative, take a moment to shift it. You can do this through your thoughts, your physiology, your focus. Take a few deep breaths. Think of something you're grateful for. Move your body in an energizing way. Start your day by setting your energy. Before you even get out of bed, take a few moments to decide what kind of energy you want to embody today. Visualize yourself radiating that energy. Feel it in every cell of your body. As you go through your day, check in with your energy regularly. If you notice it's starting to dip, take a moment to reset it. Remember, your energy is your choice. You have the power to shift it at any moment. Now, let's talk about the power of your decisions. Every decision you make, no matter how small, is shaping your future. The food you choose to eat, the words you choose to speak, the thoughts you choose to focus on, all of these are decisions that are creating your reality. Most people make decisions based on their past experiences or their current circumstances. But what if you started making decisions based on the future you want to create? What if, instead of asking, "What do I feel like doing?" you asked, "What would the person I want to become do in this situation?" This is the power of making decisions from your future self. It's about aligning your current actions with your future vision. It's about making choices that move you closer to your goals, even when those choices are uncomfortable or challenging in the moment. And here's the thing. Every time you make a decision that aligns with your future vision, you're strengthening your commitment to that vision. You're building momentum. You're creating evidence for yourself that you're the kind of person who can achieve those goals. So I want you to start being more conscious about your decisions. Before you make a choice, ask yourself, is this moving me closer to or further from my goals? Is this what my future self would do? Is this decision aligned with the person I want to become? And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making more decisions that align with your vision than don't. It's about consistently choosing in favor of your growth and your goals. Now, let's talk about the power of your relationships. The people you surround yourself with have a huge impact on your life. They influence your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors. They can lift you up or hold you back. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how your energy changes depending on who you're with? How some people make you feel inspired and capable, while others leave you feeling drained or doubtful. That's because relationships are energy exchanges. And just like you have the power to choose your own energy, you have the power to choose the energy you want to surround yourself with. This doesn't mean you need to cut people out of your life, but it does mean being more intentional about who you spend your time with and how you engage with them. It means seeking out relationships that support your growth and your vision for your life. And here's the thing, as you change, your relationships will change too. As you raise your standards for yourself, you'll naturally start attracting people who match that higher standard. And some of your existing relationships might shift or evolve. They're comfortable at times. But remember, your life is too important to be surrounded by people who don't support your growth. You deserve relationships that uplift you, inspire you, and push you to be your best self. So I want you to take a look at your relationships. Who are the people who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, who believe in you even when you doubt yourself? Seek out more time with these people. And for the relationships that drain you or hold you back, consider how you might need to set boundaries or shift the dynamic. Remember, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. Now, as we come to the end of our time together, I want you to remember this. Everything we've talked about tonight, your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, your focus, your purpose, your beliefs, your imagination, your energy, your decisions, your relationships, all of these are within your control. You have the power to shape them, to direct them, to use them to create the life you want. This night, this moment can be the turning point in your life. It can be the moment when you decide to take control, to step into your power, to become the architect of your own destiny. But remember, knowledge isn't power. Knowledge plus action is power. So I want you to commit right now to taking action on what you've learned tonight. Choose one area we've talked about and decide on one small step you can take tomorrow to start creating change. Maybe it's starting a gratitude practice. Maybe it's changing your morning routine. Maybe it's having a conversation with someone who drains your energy. Whatever it is, commit to it. Take that first step. And here's the most important thing. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until you feel confident. Don't wait until the conditions are perfect, because they never will be. The time to start is, remember, one night is all you need to turn things around. One decision made with commitment and followed with consistent action can change the course of your entire life. So make that decision now. Commit to your growth, to your transformation, to becoming the best version of yourself. Commit to living a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. You have everything you need within you right now. You have the power to create any reality you can imagine. All you need to do is tap into that power, trust in it, and take action.